Okay, thank you so much for staying so long. It has been an exciting day, both for you and for me. And I would like to talk about how to build, how to guide winning cloud teams. And why actually talk about this? Cloud is a technology which is made by people, used by people, delivered by people, and for people. And actually, there is no way we can go to the cloud or actually do any projects in the cloud without cloud teams. A few words about me. My name is Karolina. I am AWS Cloud Architect, currently working at Transition Technologies PSC SA. I have around 4 years in cloud computing, and I had many roles in the cloud, like being a team member, cloud architect, cloud team leader, cloud consultant, and cloud trainer. So I could actually, in my professional experience, look on this topic of creating teams and actually guiding people that would like to do projects in the cloud from many angles. I am also a community builder and AWS community hero from this year, and I created a few years ago a community which is called światchmury.pl. Many thanks of all of you who came from the community today. I'm very happy to see you in person. So, as you can know, there are actually many ways of doing things in the cloud and actually many ways of building cloud teams. And it will be a bit different when we have a team that, let's say, works in a corporation that started their cloud journey. And it will look a bit different if we have a company that actually is an integrator or a software house or a consulting company or training company. So, but still there are some similarities. And first, I would like to focus on IT teams. And for me, cloud is like, it actually includes all IT. So we have technologies related to computing, to storage, but also related to data processing, machine learning, connecting clients, doing Internet of Things, augmented reality, robotics, game tech, and so on. So you can see that actually I would say that in the cloud, we meet all possible IT projects. And it is a great opportunity, but on the other hand, it is a great challenge because to become, for instance, a cloud architect, you need to know a bit about everything. And this also means that the learning curve is quite steep, but it also means that in the cloud, to be successful, we need to finish a way of thinking operating when we have a lot of silos and departments that don't communicate with each other or don't work with each other. I would also say that actually cloud destroys the division between business and IT. It is actually not possible to go to the cloud successfully if we have this division. And also it is not possible to deliver cloud projects for clients if we don't have this mindset of including the business people in that. And in IT, we had like kind of traditional roles like administrator, developer, architect, security specialists, network engineers, data engineers, project managers, and so on. So let's assume that actually you as a leader start with this, with such setup, right? You have people from different IT backgrounds that actually used to work in these very specialized roles. And these people will actually then in your cloud team perform many cloud activities. And what are these activities? First of all, it can be delivering of cloud projects. It can be internal. It can be for clients. It can be projects like creating landing zones or creating cloud environments for dedicated for applications. We can do projects like migrations, like serverless, IoT, big data, and so on. But at some point, when your cloud environments and cloud journey become, let's say, more advanced, then you will have specializations. For instance, you will face cloud maintenance, cloud cost management, cloud security, some advanced automations. You will also face, if you work for clients, you will also face cloud pre-sales or cloud consulting or governance and compliance. And actually, this transformation will look like that actually having these people who used to work in these traditional IT roles, at some point what we would like to have is kind of cloud specialists. And again, in the cloud, everyone would have, let's say, a basic knowledge about, let's say, about cloud architecture, but there are also specializations. And here we have like cloud ops engineers, serverless developers, architects, data engineers, DevOps engineers, consultants, and so on. So what is actually the leader's role in this process? And in my opinion, it is guiding people through this way. And of course, you may ask yourself where actually to start. And in my opinion, it is the best way is actually to do a first cloud project. It can be a POC, it can be something simple, but the cost of doing this project and the result would be like just to know a bit about the cloud, how it works, how to monitor this a bit, how the cloud costs work, and so on. And when you have this very first experience, then you can, of course, have more projects, try different architectures like serverless or maybe containers, or maybe you would like to stick to more, let's say, traditional ways like virtual machines, or anything you like. And at some point, you may even come to the conclusion that, okay, we should have some standards that would guide us how we would like to do such projects in our organization or for our clients. And in this journey, what is really crucial is actually to create a team culture that supports this journey. And what I actually like a lot is like a concept of winning teams. And what does it mean? It means that we create, as leaders, we create conditions that teams actually can win, can have these wins on their way. It can be daily, it can be milestones, it can be individual wins, and also wins as a team as a whole. And this actually makes it is quite important because it builds up motivation. This journey for the team will not be easy because people are coming from different backgrounds, and especially in these first projects, it can be quite frustrating to get to know this technology, to work in a way that is very different from one used to do. And again, it is people who deliver results, and we need to focus on both things, right? So both on the people, so we take care about them, but also we take care about results. One of the crucial aspects actually of this journey is knowledge sharing. And here there are many ways, and in companies that I work for or used to work for, we had many ways of doing that. Of course, the best way to learn is actually to do projects, and we learn most in this, let's say, hands-on experience. We can also shadow some people, right? If we, for instance, want to become an architect or consultant, the best way is actually to observe such person, to know how this person thinks, and at first maybe copy some questions, copy some patterns, but then create something own. But we as leaders need to, let's say, create these opportunities. And this actually project and hands-on working, it's not enough. One of the greatest things that happens in companies when we have something like called cloud open hours. So the whole team gathers. We have like kind of regular calls once per week. It can be more spontaneous. It can be that someone presents some topic from his or her experience. But it's like gathering, sharing information, creating discussions, and learning together. Another form could be launch and learn, but there are also like virtual ways. If, for instance, we use Slack or Teams, we can create channels where we have cloud news, links to cloud blogs, and of course, questions and answers. Certifications. Here you see the AWS certifications. Of course, it is a question whether we actually should encourage people to do certifications. Certifications are a good framework to learn and also find a common ground in the team. So, for instance, even if we accept juniors that never did any cloud projects, if they actually passed some exams, they already have some theoretical background that will be common for others. So you don't need to actually explain the basics from the very beginning. But if you work for the clients, certificates are actually a way to gain credibility in the eyes of the client. And if you are a partner, it is actually crucial that people do certifications, because then the partner gets some benefits, like different tires, or can do projects that are, let's say, more advanced and more interesting. And last but not least, some institutions, like financial institutions, in regulated markets, the certifications are actually the way to show that your team is competent enough to deliver cloud projects. Of course, in this journey, there are some dangers and some traps. And here, not everything is very like black and white. For instance, if you have people who are real rock stars, or people who can do everything, on one hand, it is a great potential, because these people usually are starters. Usually, such people are the first one you would employ to actually build the team. But the problem is that if others are not able to catch up, then such person becomes a bottleneck, or can become like, I know it all, I know everything, and then there is no, and then this culture of knowledge sharing actually can end. Another danger is actually silos. So as I said, in my opinion, cloud breaks all silos, but still we can like lock ourselves in silos. Even Cloud Center of Excellence can become a silo if the organization if their role is not, if they are not well integrated in the organization. Another, let's say, danger or other can be trap is variety of background. So at one point, from one perspective, it is a great potential because you have people from different backgrounds, like administrators, developers, security specialists, and so on. But the danger here is that if you guide such people to the cloud, you need to have actually dedicated programs for each of these roles. For instance, for administrator, it may be not that easy to start to program and do infrastructure and as code. But for developers, it may be a bit also difficult or not interesting to take care about metrics, about performance, about maintenance of the whole solution. And very often the cloud teams are actually responsible for the environments end-to-end, right? So we have, in the team, we have people who create applications, but also are later responsible for maintaining, and not only the application, but also the platform. Another, let's say, danger is like, or rather a problem, is, let's say, chicken and egg problem. So in some companies, if someone has no experience in a certain project, one is not accepted for the project. But on the other hand, there's no way to gain experience if you don't do projects. So this really for the leader who gets some really like juniors for the first project, it is quite very interesting but also hard task to guide people through this very first one. And last thing is a burnout or overloading with work. Not every company is actually allowed to study during work hours. In many cases, we need to do this overtime. We try to do our projects overtime. And then, okay, we have one benefit because we learn a lot. We have more experience. But on the other hand, if we do this on a constant basis, then we can simply become overloaded or even start to hate the cloud. I hope it never happens for anyone here. Okay, so let's assume that actually you have guided your team through the first project, or let's say a few projects. What's next? So the next step can be to build something like cloud competency centers, or cloud centers of excellence, where you have actually multiple teams. And benefits are that if you have more people, then this knowledge sharing is actually easier. It is actually easier to have like knowledge sharing sessions if you have, let's say, 4 or 5 architects in your team, from the situation when you have only one. And you can also, in such situation, go through specializations. For instance, if your company that do projects for clients can become a specialist in cloud operations, or data, or machine learning, or IoT, or migrations, and so on. And with time, you can also then focus on not so common scenarios or not so common services. And you can also specialize that, okay, our team is doing cloud projects for financial institutions, and another team, another company may decide, okay, we would like to do cloud projects for manufacturers. And these worlds are quite different. There are different regulations, different maturity of the IT in such companies. At some point, your cloud team may also, let's say, contribute to the outer world, like in cloud communities. And this is something that not only it creates like employer brand, not only it creates marketing, but it's also like both sides benefits. Community gets knowledge from real experts, and we also are able to discuss matters with experts from other companies. Here on the slide, you have examples of some cloud communities in Poland, like AWS User Group or AWS Polska. We have some programs like AWS Community Builders, Cloud Heroes, Świat Chmury, as I mentioned, and so on. Is it all? Well, not, because there are, of course, not some not so obvious matters. Like, for instance, do we have time for all of that? For all this knowledge sharing, team development, and so on? Well, as you all know, this is this famous quadrant of things that are important and or urgent. And we have like important and urgent, important, not urgent, unimportant and urgent, and unimportant and not urgent. And from my experience, this cloud team development and knowledge sharing goes into this important but not urgent thing. And very often, if we don't care, these important and urgent things or unimportant and urgent things may take over what is actually working for us in a long run. Second thing is actually whether we should create cloud competence centers or cloud centers of excellence, or whether we should concentrate of developing cloud competencies in all teams in your IT or in your IT. And this answer for this question is not so obvious, because in many cases this cloud center of excellence or cloud competence center is like a team that guides others. On the other hand, if your company is big, you need cloud competencies in departments that are focused, let's say, on software development. And last but not least, success in cloud means IT and business going there together. And on team, let's say, base, it means that we also have some traditional business roles, like financial specialists, like lawyers, consultants, project owners, product owners, project managers, and so on. And to be successful in the cloud, you actually need to inspire these people to know a bit about cloud as well, and to see the benefits that cloud brings to them, but also to find a common language. A close example to my heart is actually financial people. We as architects need to know a bit about finance and to actually manage cloud costs effectively. But on the other hand, the people in financial departments, like financial controllers or people from procurement, need to understand that the cloud financial model is different from what they are used to. So if you do budgeting, for instance, you will not have a fixed budgets. The budgets will depend on the usage, and then to actually explain why in certain months we have higher bills can be, let's say, a topic. And here I leave actually this question open, like how to find a common language. Sometimes we in IT we think, okay, these business people are a bit strange. Business people come, what these guys are doing, right? And we need to talk together and try to not only understand each other, but also know a bit about the domain that is not, let's say, ours. Okay, so that's it from my side. My question is if you have any questions.
It's a very great question, actually. So, guys, any question, guys and girls? Girls and guys, whatever you like. Go ahead.
How you are developing teams in the time that everyone is working remotely? When people are not seeing each other, you can have the people who joined the team, left the team, and you never seen their face.
Działa?
Okay, this is actually a great question. In my experience, I had this kind of 2 years experience working for the companies that actually work only remotely. So what we had there were these cloud open hour sessions. What we had there was channels on Slack for asking all the questions. What we had in some projects were one-to-one sessions, let's say between architect and engineer. But this is actually a challenge, and in remote environments, especially if you have juniors in the team, you need to really focus and organize this. This will not happen like spontaneously. This has to be organized. And especially if you have juniors in the team, it is actually essential that you reach out to people. You actively ask as a leader or architect, do you struggle with something? Is everything clear? So you have this, you need to be much more active, because otherwise you don't know what's going on. And my first team actually was completely remote. We worked in 3 different countries, in Poland, in Netherlands, and Romania. And what worked there a lot was this, let's say, culture that there are no stupid questions, that the struggles that you had are completely okay, were completely okay, and we were very transparent, and we built trust within the team. And if you create some such conditions, then people spontaneously start to share something or try something, and so on and so on.
Another one? Any other questions? Okay. I will not even try to run again.
Yeah, okay. So you said, especially if you have juniors, you have to reach out to them, ask how it's going, all of that. Don't you think it might be taken as a micromanagement in some way?
Yes and no. There are many, actually, if you have any team, there are different phases of team development. When you form a team, you need to give structure. You need to, as a leader, you need to organize things, encourage things, moderate things. Then comes a phase when actually people in the team feel a bit safer. So there may be some conflicts, discussions, some stupid jokes, and so on. And then, but then people also try to, let's say, work together. And then we have this third phase when team starts to perform. And then you, as a leader, you can, let's say, step back and let's say stop this kind of moderation or let's say micromanagement. You allow things to happen, let's say, by themselves, unless you have a situation when something, let's say, critical is going on, like some conflict or when a new team member joins, we are a bit in this, let's say, first phase again.
Does this answer the question?
Yeah.
In a sense, okay.
A challenging question. Do you have an idea how to attract more women in IT industry?
I just say one thing, Karolina, before you answer. Thank you for that question. I thought that if I will raise that, I will be treated like a guy who doesn't know how to behave. But actually, I just want to comment one thing. 2 years ago, we were doing some stuff to bring, more diverse audience in here and more diverse speakers in here. And after 2 years, I said to myself, we haven't done that much as we thought we have done. So I don't know how to express that in English, bije się w pierś, but I think, and this is something we can talk over during the beer, that sometimes it's us, our responsibility to help others, and I'm not saying only about women, just to be super open, to create the opportunity environment to engage them. I have no clue how to do that in many occasions, but come on, this is our responsibility as well. And now you have to, answer, whatever you like.
I think that if you actually want to attract someone to anything, I think the only way is to inspire. And this was actually my way. I started to be interested in clouds like 5 years ago. I went to Microsoft. I used to work in a company that was Microsoft partner, and Microsoft organized a meeting for partners. And at that meeting, they showed what is the cloud, what is cloud analytics, and what is cloud IoT. And I was so inspired that I said to myself, okay, this is something I would like to do. And I did many courses. Some of my first mentors are here with us. So it was constant inspiration. So I think this is actually the way. And one can ask, okay, how can I inspire women if I am a man? I have an easy job because I am a woman, so. But yeah, inspiration. Nothing artificial, nothing like super, let's say, nothing artificial. It simply will not work.
Thanks.
Any other questions? I think, okay. Can you tell me, I will help Karolina to understand and then she will reply. Because, it doesn't work with this mic. Okay, so what is the question? Możesz po polsku, oczywiście, ja rozumiem trochę polski. Okej, super pytanie. Karolina, proste pytanie, zawsze są proste. Chciałaś zbudować zespół i się nie udało. Było? Nie było?
I would say in a way that I was in a situation when actually I was an interim team leader. And when you are an interim team leader, there is a risk that when you actually leave the team, you have two options. Either the team is independent enough to survive or not. And actually my first team was, I wouldn't say they were dissolved, but let's say they were not, the situation changed for them. So I think that if you actually guide a team, as a leader you should stay long enough, or at least be available even after this time when, let's say, the team can do things on your own. Okay, I think that's it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.